Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast. Today, I wanted to record an episode about the misconceptions around polyamory. I feel like these days people are being a lot more open-minded and they're wanting to try out different styles of relationships and not always sticking to the same traditional monogamy style of relationships, which I think is great. But I just wanted to cover some of the misconceptions people have around polyamory before they start jumping into a polyamorous relationship or start calling themselves polyamorous or judging their friends or other people of being polyamorous. So the first misconception is that everybody who's in a polyamorous relationship with each other are all dating each other and are all sleeping with each other and maybe even living together. That is not always the case, although it can be. You can have a relationship of 4 people and they can all be dating themselves and they can all be sleeping with each other, but it doesn't always have to be that way. So say there is a relationship of 4, there could be one person in there who's only sleeping with and seeing one person. And so they could be monogamous with this person, and then that person could be dating 2 people, and then one of those 2 people could be dating one other person. It might be hard to catch without visualization, but I hope you guys get the point that if there is a polyamorous relationship and say one person just is seeing 2 other people, that doesn't mean that those 2 other people are also seeing each other. The other misconception is that one style of relationship is more evolved than the other. So some people argue that monogamy is more evolved than polyamory because, there are tons of mammals and animals who are polyamorous and they don't stick together as a couple, although there are some animals that do. And it is said to be that it is more evolved for, the evolved human brain to learn how to be monogamous and learn how to stick with one person forever. And then there's the argument as well that polyamory is way more natural because you do see it in other animals and that's just how we were born. And I would disagree with both of those. I wouldn't say one is more evolved than the other. It is entirely to do with the individual and with that person's soul purpose and their dharma and whatever works best for them, as long as they're not hiding from their insecurities or using it as an excuse to not grow their consciousness themselves. But whatever one works the best and feels the best for them, that's best for them. So I don't believe that everyone is born poly or monogamous or anything like that. It's entirely up to that person, and that can change throughout someone's life as well. Sometimes monogamy will serve someone for a decade of their life, and then the next 10 years, polyamory is going to serve them a lot more. So it's just finding what works best for you, and in order to do that, you really need to dig deep and have an incredible relationship with yourself and incredible sense of self-awareness. The other misconception is that polyamorous people just don't know how to be happy or feel fulfilled with just being in a relationship with one person. And that is also a bit of a myth because what I think it comes down to is testing out how happy someone can be single and on their own. And that's to do with any relationship style, monogamy, open, swingers, polyamorous, whatever the case may be. If you can learn to be happy, single, and on your own, that's a big signal if you are choosing polyamory or monogamy to fulfill all of these needs out of more than one person because you just haven't found the right person, perhaps. So I feel like each soul who comes to earth, some of us may only meet one soulmate, one twin flame in our entire lifetime of being here. And that is your dharma. That is your soul's purpose. That is the path that your soul has gone down in life. And that may look like you ending up in a monogamous relationship with that one twin flame who you've met. Whereas some other souls come to this planet and they have more than one twin flame on this planet. and they meet more than one twin flame on this planet in their lifetime. So someone like that is probably way more likely to fall into a polyamorous relationship if they're meeting more than one twin flame in their life without, their first twin flame dying and then becoming a widow and then finding another one. Falling in love with two people at the same time, finding two incredible souls at the same time that are both very compatible. You can't help but want to be in a polyamorous relationship then if you're unable to decide and you're finding two twin flames, maybe even three twin flames. That's kind of what it's like for polyamorous people. I'm not saying every polyamorous person is like that. It's the same for monogamy. Not every person who's in a monogamous relationship is in a relationship with their twin flame. It's actually very, very rare. But in terms of long-term polyamorous relationships where one person is just totally in love with two people, that's just how I explain it for people who've only ever been in a monogamous relationship to kind of understand someone who's polyamorous long-term, say someone who is dating two people and raising kids, and they may have two fathers or two mothers helping out. That is kind of a situation where most likely they are both very compatible and both twin flames, and they have had the joy to have met two twin flames in one lifetime here on Earth. Another misconception, and I would almost call it a shadow side of open relationships and polyamory, is that you're trying to meet all of your needs outside of yourself through other people. And you're incapable of being happy on your own and learning to fulfill yourself and meet some of your needs or most of your needs through yourself. Because I do believe there is a balance. We are not born here to be completely independent and get all of our needs from one thing, from ourselves, because human connection is so important and we thrive off of relationships. So it is important that we learn to get our needs met within us from ourselves and through other people and have that balance. I don't think it's healthy where we think that we can get everything we want through ourselves and we never have to be in a relationship with anyone. And friendships, that's different as well. Someone who's completely like, oh, I don't need to hang out with anyone. I would have to challenge that because I do believe we thrive off of relationships. And by that, I also mean friendships and just people who we are close with, people who love us and respect us and understand us. Just that human connection, I think, is really important. But there does come a point where we're seeking that so much outside of ourselves, and say you're in an open relationship and you're just constantly wanting to date and find new people because you're constantly looking outside of yourself for reasons to make you happy or get you excited about life, because you're not taking the responsibility of filling up your own cup and meeting your own needs within yourself. So I think that's really, really important as well. Another misconception in a polyamorous relationship is that everybody who's involved in a polyamorous relationship has to be polyamorous. That isn't necessarily true. So last year I was in a relationship with two men, and one of my partners was in an open relationship. So he was open. I was in a polyamorous relationship because I was dating the two other people. And my other partner was in a monogamous relationship because he was only seeing me and he was monogamous with me. So there was three of us. They weren't seeing each other. I was polyamorous. One of them was in an open relationship and one of them was in a monogamous relationship. So it can work that way as well. So sometimes when we think that we would like to try polyamory, but there's one person we're deeply in love with who you feel their soul is just monogamous, or that person themselves says, hey, I don't want to see any other people, then that can still work as long as they are okay with you seeing other people or being polyamorous or whatever the case may be. So it always comes down to figuring out what works best for every single person involved in that relationship. And one last thing I just want to add is that when it comes to deciding which relationship style works best for you, whether that's an open relationship or polyamory or monogamy. It's important to really dig deep and ask yourself which one feels the most in alignment for you. Which one feels the most natural to you? And in a weird way, which one almost feels easier to you? And not easier in a sense that you want to be monogamous because you don't want to deal with the challenges of polyamory, but in the sense that for me, for example, right now, I choose polyamory not because it's easy, but it's almost easier because I value my freedom to meet and connect with people around the world more than I value not being challenged through my other partner ever meeting anyone else that lights them up as well. So you have to almost weigh out the pros and cons and say which one feels organic, which one feels like it's in alignment for you. And don't let that be influenced by anyone else outside of yourself. This is something that is really good that you could practice over a meditation and just let it sit on your mind for a while and ask yourself which one works best for you right now. And if you're only in love with one person right now, or you meet that one person, you don't know if you'll want to be polyamorous because you've only met that one person. And that's how it kind of came for me. It's not that I just decided one day I want 2 boyfriends or 3 boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. I just said I want to be open to exploring more than one connection at a time if I meet another person that I want to have a close and intimate connection with. And that's why I choose polyamory, and that's why polyamory is attractive to me right now. I hope this episode helped you guys and helped make some things a bit more clear with your ideas around what polyamory is and if it's something you're really interested in or not. If you guys can comment and message me over Instagram at @AurelHug or on Facebook, I would love to hear your feedback on what you think of this episode or what you think of my podcast. Also, if you could leave me a 5-star rating and a little review on the side, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. I hope you have an amazing week ahead of you, and thanks for tuning in. Hey YouTube fam, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button below. And if you think a friend, a family member, or just someone you know who could benefit from this podcast episode, please share this video with them. And if you've been enjoying the Elevate Your Soul podcast, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new episodes weekly.